Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Wednesday. We're going to talk about Yerry Mina and Michael Keane today. Now I put a tweet out a couple of days ago and I asked, look, with Everton in the market for another centre-back, with Everton coming out and saying that centre-back is one of those positions that we're looking to strengthen in this summer. All of the links obviously to Gabriel over the past few weeks and months would look like they're probably going to tail out a little bit, and even though he mightn't come to the football club, it still seems quite apparent that the club are actively in the transfer market to bring in another centre-half. Obviously, Jean-Claude Todibo has been linked with us numerous times over the last couple of months as well, and links return today. Rumouring Jean-Claude Todibo to be interested, or Everton to be interested in a move in him. So I want to sit down and talk about the two centre-halves that we've seen mostly this season. Of course, excluding Mason Holgate, because I think his future at the football club is pretty certified. He will be staying on. And he has, become our best centre-back over the last sort of few weeks and months or so, certainly since the return of football. And even prior to that, when Duncan Ferguson took over, when Carlo Ancelotti took over, he really has become our best centre-half. So I thought I'd talk about the other two centre-backs because I don't know whether I think Everton would keep on to both Michael Keane and Yerry Mina if we were to bring in another centre-half. Certainly not if we were to bring in another centre-half that was £30 million. Realistically, could we have three £30 million centre-backs in our squad with only one of them starting every week? Because let's be perfectly honest, Mason Holgate starting week in, week out next season, whether you like it or not, and I think we all like it because he is the best player in that position. So could Everton financially afford at the moment, in this current situation, to have three potential centre-backs that were paid over £25 million for, all three probably being on upwards of £100,000 a week, and only one of them playing in the starting 11? This would indicate to me that either Yerry Mina or Michael Keane would leave the door. Now, I'm not saying that that's completely true. I'm not saying that that was what Everton had looked to do. Everton may sit there and think, right, you know what, okay, we're looking to bring another centre-half in, okay, we're looking to, strengthen the team, and we've addressed that centre-back as a position that desperately needs strengthening in, but we're still going to keep hold of Yerry Mina, we're still going to keep hold of Michael Keane, and we're going to have four really top centre-halves, or four centre-halves that are good enough to be within this squad. However, I think with financial fair play and what's going on currently in the world and the finances situation and stuff, I think Everton are going to have to sell this summer as well as bring in players. I think we're going to have to let go of some of the players that maybe aren't good enough, that will definitely aren't good enough. Your likes of your Sigurdssons, your likes of your Fabian Delph, maybe even Theo Walcott, and maybe one of Yerry Mina or Michael Keane. If we can make 15-20 million back on them, and that means that covers the transfer fee for another centre-back who can, ultimately improve the squad as well as maybe a couple of other players, then why wouldn't we? So I put out a tweet the other day saying, listen, with Everton quite evidently in the market for another centre-half, and with Gabriel being rumoured near enough every day, and the rumours, getting to a point now where some of them are stating that he'd already signed a pre-contract, it's quite evident that Everton want to bring in a centre-back this summer. So with that, Michael Keane and Yerry Mina, if we were to bring in another centre-half, whether they, both stayed, if they didn't both stay, who would you rather see leave the football club? Who do you think basically is the better centre-half out of Yerry Mina and Michael Keane? If we bring in another centre-half, who ultimately leaves if the club decide to sell one? And it was a mixed response, to be perfectly honest with you. A lot of people were saying they'd keep Yerry Mina. A lot of people, obviously, I think with Yerry Mina and Michael Keane, I think they both had okay seasons. Michael Keane's coming towards the back end of the season, certainly after the return of football, after the lockdown, and obviously the suspension of football. I thought he was probably our most consistent and best player over that period, from the return against Liverpool to obviously the last game of the season against Bournemouth. However, Yerry Mina started the season really positively and really well as well. And I think, like I said, prior to the suspension and prior to even Carlo Ancelotti coming in, Yerry Mina was probably our most solid player, and again, one of our most consistent players. Towards the back end of the season, he'd picked up injuries and he wasn't involved in the squad as much as he probably would like to have been. And at the start of the season, when Yerry Mina was, consistently putting in decent performances, Michael Keane was picking up injuries here and there, and he wasn't consistently in the squad. So like I said, it was a mixed response. Some people saying they'd keep Yerry Mina, some people saying we'd probably get more for Yerry Mina, so therefore they'd keep Michael Keane and try and sell Yerry Mina. I've written some stats down. I know stats don't mean anything really, and it's all obviously just numbers written down on a piece of paper. But I've put some down just to put things into perspective, and I thought we could have a little conversation here today in the live comments, of course, and giving my opinions on who I think, if we were to sell one of the two, would stay at the football club. Now, obviously, Yerry Mina coming in for around about £30 million from Barcelona a couple of years ago, come in with Andre Gomez on transfer deadline day in 2018, I believe it was. Michael Keane coming in a couple of years before under Ronald Koeman again. Michael Keane, both players coming in as part of a big summer renovation of the football club, if you like. Michael Keane coming in the summer, where we also brought in Jordan Pickford, we brought in Davy Klaassen, we brought in Wayne Rooney. It was that transfer window under Ronald Koeman where we just spent absolutely ridiculous amounts of money on a lot of average footballers, and a lot of Everton fans at the time thought that Michael Keane fit into that category quite well. He's had an inconsistent time at the football club. He's had some performances where he's looked absolutely fantastic, and he's had some performances where he's looked like he's really struggled. It's worth noting that he's also played through quite a significant injury at his time at Everton Football Club, and he's come out and he's been open about that. And like you said, you can only judge him on his recent performances, you can only judge him on the last few games that you watched. And to be fair to Michael Keane, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks, whatever it's been since we returned against Liverpool, he probably has been our most consistent player. His performances have been at a decent level. Obviously, he scored the goal against Norwich to win us the game, and he's looked quite decent. He has, with the exception of maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes here in an off game, he has looked like a sort of a breath of fresh air, really. And if he can keep those type of performances up, then I think he could have a future at Everton Football Club. Yerry Mina, again, coming in similar circumstances to Michael Keane, as part of a renovation transfer window. Marco Silva's first, a transfer window which saw us bring in the likes of Bernard, the likes of Richarlison, the likes of Andre Gomez, the likes of Luca Dean. We brought in all of these players at once, and Yerry Mina was one of them. And Yerry Mina struggled with injury at the start of his Everton career. I think, we signed him in the August and he didn't end up playing until the October, or just prior to that, due to injury, and he was injured when we signed him. And then his Everton career, again, quite similar to Michael Keane, really, has been stained with, inconsistent performances, to injuries, to one week you can think, right, you were absolutely solid today, you were fantastic, and the next week he gets caught out, and then the week after that he's injured for 3 weeks. Both players, I think, have had a pretty rough time since joining Everton Football Club, and neither player has had a real consistent run of games where you think, or a consistent, even half a season where you think you are our number one centre half. It's always been one week, right, okay, Yerry Mina's probably the top dog, and the next week, right, okay, but Michael Keane's just put in that performance, and Yerry Mina has struggled that game. So again, both players not had consistent runs so far at the football club, and both players have been come to question by fans, certainly. And I think both players will be the type that you'd look at and you think you probably wouldn't be at the top of my list to sell, because at the top of your list would be the likes of Fabian Delph, my list anyway, Fabian Delph, Gylfi Sigurdsson, probably Theo Walcott, players that have really got no future at the football club, and more often than not put in really poor or average performances, and we're not going to make any money back. They'd go. And then the players like Yerry Mina, Michael Keane, maybe Alex Iwobi probably fall into that category below of, well, they're not at the top of the list, but we could probably sell them, make a little bit of money back on them, and then spend that in another key position, or bring in a player that can perform a little bit more consistently. So in the 2019-20 Premier League season, Yerry Mina played 29 times in the Premier League. He amassed 2 goals, which both come in the one game against Watford. 2 really important goals. I'm not going to focus too much in on the goals and assists, because they're both obviously centre-backs, but 2 goals, really important goals against Watford, and 1 assist, whereas Michael Keane played in 31 games, so near enough every Premier League game this season, barring 7. 2 goals and no assists and 3 cards. Obviously, the latest goal being the one that come against Norwich City during the return of the Premier League, and ultimately won us that game. Again, like I said, although both players have had inconsistencies, although both players have struggled with injuries and those sort of things through the season, they've both played quite a fair bit of football. 29 appearances, Yerry Mina only missing out on 9 games, and a lot of them come after the return of football. A lot of them come when football returned from the break after coronavirus, whereas Michael Keane picking up 31 appearances, which means he was only left out of 7 Premier League games. So both players played consistently together through a lot of the season. Like I said, Mason Holgate didn't really break his way into the team until the second half of the season, certainly not until Duncan Ferguson and Carlo Ancelotti really took over at the football club. So under Marco Silva, we see Michael Keane and Yerry Mina be playing consistently, pretty much week in, week out. And again, it wasn't fantastic, was it? It wasn't. Our defence was called into question an awful lot of times, and I know a lot of that could have been down to the manager and the tactics, etc. But it was called into question, and neither Yerry Mina nor Michael Keane really were looking like they were absolutely solid and they were saving us. Yes, okay, Yerry Mina was more consistent and putting in probably better performances, but neither of them, you'd say, were solidified players to start week in, week out for us. You'd look at and you'd think, well, we probably could get better. So like I said, appearances-wise, Michael Keane had 7 clean sheets, or was involved in 7 Everton games in which Jordan Pickford kept the clean sheet. Yerry Mina had only 4. 37 goals conceded. Whilst Yerry Mina was on the pitch, 42 goals conceded, whilst Michael Keane was on the pitch. Worth noting, Michael Keane played in 3 more games. 5 goals, 3 games. Sounds about right for Everton Football Club. 14 blocks for Yerry Mina, 28 for Michael Keane, 44 interceptions for Keane, and 28 for Yerry Mina. 39 tackles for Mina, 31 tackles for Michael Keane, 22 tackles won by Mina, and 16 tackles by Keane. So although even though, Yerry Mina amassed more tackles, he also won more tackles. 150 clearances by Michael Keane, only 98 by Yerry Mina. However, 91 headed clearances by Michael Keane, and 58 by Yerry Mina. Aerial battles won 130 for Michael Keane, 114 for Yerry Mina, 1 own goal each, and 20 fouls each. So in terms of stats, it's quite even. Michael Keane's probably statistically had a slightly better season, and I think a lot of that is down to the fact that he played a lot more than Yerry Mina did when Carlo Ancelotti come in, and when Everton significantly improved, certainly defensively. Obviously, Yerry Mina played a lot of his football this season under Marco Silva in a side that struggled massively defensively, never really had any idea, was pretty much beaten every time a ball come into the box, struggled massively, whereas Michael Keane's had his better half of the season when we've actually had a manager who knows how to, get the lads, fully sort of understanding in their roles and their duties. Defensively, we've been a lot better under Carlo Ancelotti. We've been a lot stronger, we've been a lot tighter, and Michael Keane has been a part of that. Like I said, his performances after the lockdown and after the suspension of football in those last 9 games really did boost this season up. If he wouldn't have had those type of performances, this probably wouldn't be a conversation. I'd be sitting here saying, if I had to pick between the two, I'd be selling Michael Keane all day long, because Yerry Mina's had a more consistent season. But obviously, Yerry Mina struggled to find his way into the team after the lockdown through injuries, and again, through the performances of Michael Keane and Mason Holgate, and ultimately then Michael Keane sort of stepped his game up a little bit and improved massively towards the back end of the season. So, again, just my personal opinion before we dive into the live comments. We will get into the live comments in just a second. Out of both players, listen, I think if we are to bring in another centre-half, I think if Everton are going to go out there and pay 25, 30 million pounds on another centre-back, listen, whether it be Gabriel, whether it be Jean-Claire Todibo, whether it be somebody else, I do think if Everton are going to go out there and spend that much money on another centre-back, I can see either Yerry Mina or Michael Keane leaving the football club. I just think it'd be silly to have 3 centre-backs, who have cost us upwards of 20 million pounds and are on upwards of 70, 80,000 pounds a week, and only one of them being in the starting 11, because let's be perfectly honest, even if we bring in another centre-back, it'd be absolutely... it wouldn't be good to take Mason Holgate out of that side, because it's become apparent that he is our best centre-back, and it's become apparent that he's one of our most consistent performances as well. So unless, and I tweeted this the other day and got absolutely tore down for it as well, but unless Carlo Ancelotti has this plan of moving Mason Holgate into the centre of the midfield and maybe progressing him there, then he's going to play. He's going to play week in, week out at centre-half, and that would mean that, again, at least 2 of the the big money centre-back signings would be sat on the bench. So I think we would sell one of these players, and I think we could get some money back. If you're asking how much we'd get back from Yerry Mina, it wouldn't be anywhere near as much as we paid for him. I think we paid nearly 30 million pounds, but I do think we'd get maybe 15, 20 million back for him, which again is a loss, and again is poor business-wise. But it's some money back in the situation. And I think similar with Michael Keane, to be honest, paid a little bit less for Michael Keane, and you may get 15, 20 million pounds back from Michael Keane as well. Out of the two, listen, they're both... Neither of them fill me with massive amounts of confidence, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't look at either of them and go, it's clear that you are the better player. Again, Michael Keane is a player that plays on confidence. When he's confident, he's very, very good. He's good in the air. If a ball comes into him in the air, he usually deals with it. But on the floor, he's been beaten a couple of times. Again, there's been a couple of situations where he's just been played through far too easily. Again, He's massively improved that since Carlo Ancelotti's come in, and specifically in the last 9 games of the season. But still, we were seeing it a couple of times. Still, he was beaten a couple of times, which, you know, isn't good. And Yerry Mina, again, I think the question with Yerry Mina is if you can get a consistent 35 games out of him in a season and he can play consistently throughout that season without picking up any injuries, you'd probably say, right, okay, you're the better player and you're the player that we're more likely going to keep hold of. But with Yerry Mina, you get 3 weeks out of him and then he picks up an injury and he's out for a couple of weeks, and then you get another 2 weeks out of him, then he picks up another injury, or he mightn't be fit to start the game, or he mightn't have a great game, his confidence might be on the floor. So again, there's those inconsistencies with both players. In terms of the seasons, I think they've both had relatively okay seasons. Neither of them have been absolutely fantastic. Like I said, Yerry Mina started really, really well, tailed off towards the end through injuries. Michael Keane couldn't find his way into the team, and again was inconsistent and was struggling, and then obviously stepped it up towards the back end of the season when Carlo Ancelotti come into the football club. I think you'd probably make more money back on Yerry Mina, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think if we're to bring in another centre-back, that centre-back is coming in to start week in, week out, isn't it? So I suppose the argument between Yerry Mina and Michael Keane is, who would you rather have on the bench as a backup centre-back? And I'd probably rather have Michael Keane on the bench. Again, not only for the reasons I think that he's a little bit more consistent and he's injured less frequently, but also because I think you'd get more money back from Yerry Mina. So if we're sitting here saying who would you rather have in the starting 11, it's difficult because both players on the day are decent centre-halves, both players off the day are absolutely atrocious. But that's not really the question here, is it? If Everton are to bring in another centre-back, the question really is, who would you rather have on the bench as a backup, Yerry Mina or Michael Keane? If Everton aren't to bring in another centre-back, then we're probably not going to sell Yerry Mina or Michael Keane. Both of the players will probably continue on at the football club. So again, of the two, I'd probably sell Yerry Mina, not in terms of because I think he's a worse player than Michael Keane, or I think he hasn't had as good a season as Michael Keane. I just think you'd make more money back on him. And if at the end of the day, if both of these players are only going to be a backup and sitting on the bench, then why not sell the one that you're going to get more money out of, especially if the other one, in terms of Michael Keane, can come on and do a job if asked. Anyway, let's get into the live comments now. I want to hear what everybody has to say about this and other topics as well. Let me know your thoughts on everything. If you're enjoying the team, by the way, so far, please do hit the like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. A little bit more information before we get into the live comments. Hummel have announced a teaser, or released a teaser, basically confirming that Everton's away kit for the 2020-2021 season will be revealed on Friday. It won't be released, it'll probably be available for pre-order, but it will be revealed on Friday. They put out a little teaser video, of the Holy Trinity statue with a little amber glow to it, with Goodison Park behind it, which led obviously the whole fan base, including myself, to think it's amber, it's going to be amber, it's going to be yellow. Couple of hours later, there was a kit reveal. There was a kit leaked, which I'm not going to talk too much about or put up because I think it's disappointing that, again, it does my head in a little bit that, the club and Hummel can sort of, tease it a little bit and make it sort of a little bit of a spectacle, and then it just goes and gets leaked, 2 days before by a foreign merchandise seller somewhere. Again, if it is the kit, I like it. I'll have me proper opinions on it obviously on Friday when it's properly revealed, but look out for Friday because that mightn't be the kit. He might come at us with something completely different, and that might just be a photoshopped version of what's believed. So obviously keep up to date. We'll be live on Friday night anyway. We're going to be talking transfers, but we will have a video out on Friday afternoon revealing the kit and giving my initial opinions and talking about the kit, of course. Anyway, let's get into the live comments. Somberio numero uno says Mina should fetch a nice return. Also 120k a week seems a bit too expensive if he's the number 3 behind Holgate and someone like Gabriel. Exactly. Well, look, that's what I've just said again. It's a difficult situation because, with Michael Keane and Yerry Mina, if we're looking to bring in a centre-back, if we're not looking to bring in a centre-back, then both players stay at the football club, because then you've got Mason Holgate, you've got whoever's next to Mason Holgate, and then you've got, Yerry Mina or Michael Keane, whichever the other one be, on the bench. But if one of them, if another centre-back is to come in, and the idea is that centre-back plays week in, week out, then it becomes quite evident that, 2 of these players aren't going to play. And why not sell a player that's on more money a week to make, to save yourself some wages and to make a bigger, transfer fee back. Tudy says, is Toffee TV live at 5 today? I believe they are live at the moment, yes. So big thanks to everybody for watching and choosing to watch us ahead of Toffee TV or as well as Toffee TV. Really do appreciate it. If you're enjoying, please hit the like button. Eugene says, Everton fans make very special requests. I don't know what that is, mate. You'll have to give me more detail. Jonathan says, hey, mate, just come out of hospital today. I hope you're okay, mate. I'm not too sure what's going on, but I hope you are okay. Sending our wishes your way, of course. Toothy says I would sell Mina solely because of him being injury ridden. Fair enough. William says, hey everybody, Cam lad, how's everybody doing? I'm not too bad, mate. I'm not too bad. I hope you are yourself. He says, keep Keane, sell Mina if I had the choice. I'm the same, mate, I'm the same. George says, not a massive fan of the shirt. Looks nice, but the sizing is crazy small. Are you talking about this one? Yeah, I had to go a size up. The fella told me in the shop, go a size up. And I was like, well, I'm never going to fit in a medium. I do, it's still a bit big. But listen, I like it. I like the design. I like the feel. Obviously, there's been a few issues that everybody's spoken about, so we don't need to speak about. But I'm a fan. Can't think of an F name. Says, sell Keane. He's shite, not consistent, meaning has more natural talent. Fair enough. You probably got a point there as well. Joseph's thoughts on the leak kit. Yeah, like I said, mate, I'm not a massive fan of kits being leaked. The kit itself, the leaked kit, I quite like, but like I said, I don't want to go into too much detail until it's officially being revealed on Friday, and we know exactly, we know exactly what we're working with. Andy says evening lads and says the same thing regarding the kit. Jonathan says, I'd sell Keane. Fair enough. Whammy says, have we signed anyone yet? Jesus, fuck's sake, not like we need 17 in and 54 out before next Friday. We haven't signed anyone yet, mate. George says we're going to beat the championship. Jonathan says, if we keep that midfield, we'll be in the championship. Can't think of enough names. Says, why does Davis never get mentioned when you say players aren't good enough? Will be top of my list to leave. Tom Davis isn't good enough, mate. Tom Davis isn't good enough. I'll tell you that right now. And if Tom Davis is starting Premier League games of football next season, we are massively in trouble. There's a list of players there that, again, there's probably 4 Everton players who I wouldn't listen for offers for, and I've said them before. I think I pretty much say them every week. Luca Dean, Richarlison, Mason Holgate, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, everybody else I would happily listen to offers for. Tom Davis would be in the market of anything between 5 and 10 million, I'd sell him. Because you're right, he's not good enough. Sonny says Keane is more consistent with form and injuries. Fair point. Whammy says Mina is probably a bit better, but Keane is less broken. How do you decide between that? Selling both. Fair enough. Ewan says Everton Leon Bailey. Yes, that's been rumoured today. We're going to talk about that on Friday. Sonny says thoughts on David Brooks. I'd take him in a heartbeat. I really like him, mate. I'd take him as well. I think he's a decent player to do. I'd take him 100%. Jem says hello everyone. Hello Jem. James says hi Cam. Hope you're well, mate. I'm not too bad, mate. Hope you're doing well yourself. Sport Channel says, hey Cam, hope you're having a good day. Yeah, I'm doing well, Tar. Jonathan says, I'd have Leon Bailey over Brooks. Fair point. Wimmy says, be about right, Eugene. You steal Gabriel and we fund the deal buying their rubbish. Can't think of enough names. As 80% of this season has been shite. Probably more than 80%, to be honest with you, mate. Wimmy says, Keane is a disaster when the defence pushes up, though he gets turned. He is done. Again, both players need to improve, and both players aren't the finished article and aren't fantastic. Ability-wise, I'd probably say, I agree, I'd probably say Yerry Mina's got a little bit more natural ability, but consistency-wise, I'd probably say Michael Keane's a bit more consistent, so it's a tough one, isn't it? Wayne says, get rid of Michael Keane. Sports Channel says, do you think we should give Balassi another chance? I don't think we will give Balassi another chance. There's been an article come out today in the Liverpool Echo, which states that Carlo Ancelotti is, Yannick Balassi isn't in Carlo Ancelotti's plans for the future. He's currently training with the under-23s, and he will continue to do so until Everton get a decent enough bid in, and then he'll be sold, and he basically won't be here next season. So, whether we think he should or not, he's not going to get another chance. Charlene Brown says, Alan equals Everton, I hope so. Toothy says Balassi should get a look insane and maybe he could play as a second striker. I don't think he's got a future at the football club. Wayne says Mina should score more goals. He got 3 in a week for Colombia in the World Cup. He should be more of a dominant presence. He should be more dominant going forward. He should be more aggressive in the opposition box. But he hasn't been. Again, 2 goals for both players this season, and Yerry Mina's come within a minute of each other in the same game. So again, I think it's attacking threats, which don't get me wrong, centre-halves aren't meant to be an attacking threat necessarily. Yes, it's better if they can become that threat going forward, but it's not primary as if for a centre-back to be an attacking threat. But it would help, certainly, if a player like Yerry Mina with his height and, his physicality. James has got to the point where I don't care who we sign now. because so many links to players want our Everton back, just want a better season, but play with hard work and passion. We have lost our way. Fair enough. Wayne says, you obviously never seen Balassi shoot. Philip says, the club are actively trying to get rid of Balassi, so no chance. I agree. Wayne says, why still no players in yet? Slow out the blocks again. Fair point. Toothy says, keep both Mina and Keane, even if we get Gabriel, and then sell one of them in January based on performance. Wayne says, Zuma back? No, I wouldn't take him back personally. Philip says, no one of note will ever consider us. Only huge money will get anybody. Fair point. Eugene mentions Tadibo there. Wayne says, agreed, same problem we have every season while we're not in Europe. Fraser going to Palace, and are we getting Zaha? I wouldn't take Zaha, mate, unless they wanted to give us him practically on a free. I just wouldn't take him. Trilogy says, you excited for the away kit on Friday? I am, mate. I'm excited to see what they bring and how it looks, and for example, the shorts and the sock colour, if it is going to be amber. I'm really, really excited. I'm excited for the reveal video as well. It should be good, and obviously we'll be covering it on the channel whatever time it drops. We'll be there a couple of minutes later with the reveal video. We'll be talking about the kit, giving my opinions, and then I'm sure we'll talk an awful lot more about it on Friday's live stream. Trudy says, not great timing. Savvy TV is live. I think me and our stream sort of clash on a Wednesday because we both stream around 5 o'clock, but there you go. Listen, Toffee TV, great lads, Baz and Ped, so if you prefer to watch them, that's completely fine. Dennis says, does a step over and gets injured. I assume you're talking about Yerry Mina there. Wayne says, we have to play with Charleston in the wing next season, adds more goals to the team, makes no sense to play him up front. Besides, we need a new keeper, right back, centre back. Centre mid, left winger priority. I agree, we do need those players. Can't think of enough names. Says, anyone that thinks Keane is better than Mina is deluded. When he has a few decent games, everyone says he's good enough. It's annoying. Fair point. If you're enjoying the scene, by the way, please do hit the like button. It only takes a second. Eugene asked, would I take Garner back? It depends. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, his age is a massive concern. Listen, I don't think Idrissa Gana Gueye would come back to Everton, so I'm just going to leave it there. Whether we want him back or not, I don't think he'd come back to Everton. I just don't. He's at his dream club now. It was his dream move, and I think if he was to leave PSG, he just doesn't strike me as one of those players that'd come back. He doesn't. Sports Channel says, Cam wearing the jersey. Yeah, rocking the new jersey today. Only the second time I've worn it. Because I'm scared to put it in the wash in case the badges fall off. Wayne says, give Gabriel 120k a week, might as well. We gave it to Sandro and Snyder and Sigurdsson and Bernard. They're all combined jack shit for that outlay. Very fair point. Can't think of an effing name. Says, sell Davis, Keane, Sigurdsson, Walcott, Delph, Tosson and Iwobi. Again, if every one of those players left the football club, I wouldn't have a massive issue. Obviously, Keane being in there, which is part of the discussion today. Josh says, greatest Everton shirt in your opinion. Tough one, that, mate. Tough one. Greatest Everton shirt. I like the 2014-15 season, the one after we finished 5th. Thought that was quite smart. The first season back with Umbro. Yeah, what best Everton shirt in my opinion. I like that one. I like last season's 3rd one, to be honest with you. I thought it was classy, but we hardly ever wore it. It's tough. I'll have to have a think about that one and get back to you, mate. James says, Keane has to stay for me with Holgate. Fair enough. Robbie says, I think Keane will be happy to be 3rd choice and fight it out. I think if you tell Mina the same, he is what he'd want going. I think you've got a very, very good point there. Can't think of an F name. Says, we should sign Leon Bailey. I'd be absolutely made up if we signed Leon Bailey. Sport Channel says, do you do Patreon for extra content? I don't do a Patreon. It's something that I've been thinking of. Let me know if you would be interested in that. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's a service again. Not saying I'm going to do it, just something that's been in the back of my mind. It's a service where you pay literally a couple of quid, £2 a month, something like that, and you just get extra content. You get something like 5 or 10 more videos a week or something like that. I have thought about it, but again, I think we'll probably just stick to YouTube for the minute and then see where we can get with the YouTube. Can't think of any name. Says Selic, Gabriel, Bay, Allen and Romero, or Areola loan would be perfect. Fair enough. Sports Channel says Sergio Ramos got more goals than our midfield. How embarrassing is that? Balassi wouldn't be as bad as Iwobi or Walcott. Can't think of an name. Says that. James says, I think the same about Balassi, but the boss apparently not in favour. Lucky to get 3 players in for me. I think we'll be lucky to bring in 3, to be honest, but as long as they're 3 quality players that improve the squad, I'm happy with that. Can't think of an name. Says Allen over Garner. Fair point. He also says Moise Keane will be world class in my opinion. He's 20 years coming into a new team. You're spot on. Sonny says ESPN have just said we are set to beat United for Gabriel. I'm just lost in the whole Gabriel situation at the moment. I don't know who to believe. I don't know where to stand. I just don't know. We do need to give everyone Moise Keane a chance. I agree, 100% spot on. Anyway, we'll wrap it up there. Then a little bit of a quick one. But I want to know your thoughts. Thank you to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. If you're watching a YouTube video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Listen, Michael Keane, Yerry Mina, if we are to bring in another centre back this summer, which one of those two players would you sell, if any? And would you sell them anyway if we're not to bring in another centre-half? I think it'd be silly to do so because we'd be massively lacking there in cover. But if we were to bring in another centre-back, which the club has said to be, you know, in for and is said to be a priority, which one of Michael Keane or Yerry Mina would you rather sell and would you rather see leave the football club? Let me know in the comment section down below. Big thanks for watching. Massive thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. Really do appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Leave a video, leave the video a like if you have enjoyed. Like I said, we'll be back on Friday and we'll be doing the reveal of the kit. We'll be uploading a video, giving my thoughts, giving my opinion, showing the kit off on Friday morning or afternoon, whenever it's released. And then we'll be live on Friday with Tom, talking about transfers, talking about players in, talking about players out, and giving an update on that. So big thanks for watching. Massive thanks to everybody in the live comments. Really do appreciate it. Whammy says take care, guys, and thank you very much. Whammy, can't think of another name, says in a big cam. Cheers, thank you very much. If you've enjoyed, please do hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. We'll be back on Friday with the kit reveal. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at MightyBluesYT and Instagram MightyBluesEFC if you haven't already. Big thanks for watching. James says, Cam, cheers, Cam, you should do a Patreon. Well, if a lot of people want it and would be happy to subscribe to it, then, you know, we'll think about it. Thank you very much, everyone. Please hit the like if you have enjoyed, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.